Good evening, everybody. It's 9 o'clock right here, Sunday night at 9 p.m. Good evening again. Welcome all our guests and our hosts, co-hosts. My name is Rufus Carpenter, and my co-host is Coach Glenda Driver. Hey, Glenda, how you doing?
I'm finding yourself.
I'm good. Are you ready for a great night tonight? Because tonight we got a barn burner. We got a barn burner tonight. Unequally yoked in marriage or relationships. Unequally yoked in marriage or relationship.
That's a hot topic.
Yes, it is. But before we get into that, let's explain what we do here. Well, again, I'm Rufus Carpenter, and what we get together every Sunday night at 9 p.m. And we get together for an open discussion on relationship topics. And what this is like the format is you and like 20 of your girlfriends are sitting in the living room and you just having a good time and you're talking about things that's important to you towards relationships. And you're free to talk. It's a safe place, a safe container where you can share some of your ideas and some of your thoughts and some of the questions you wanted to ask but didn't know how to ask them. Now, our audience is mostly females, but we have some males every now and then that participate. And one of my responsibilities is bringing the male perspective in, because nowhere have we seen on the internet that you can actually talk back and forth, male and female, on a relationship topic. So we want to be the first, and we want to welcome you to be a part of it. Now, you as an audience, you have the benefit of being very interactive. You can get in for as much or as little as you want to. You can keep your mic open. You can keep your camera on, or you can just cut your camera off and just sit back and listen. But we ask you participate because you don't get nothing out unless you put something in. So the more you put in, the more you get out. When you have those questions, instead of sitting in the background shrinking, go ahead and say it. Go ahead and bring it up, because you don't know who you're going to help. There's nowhere in the African-American or Black community that we can talk about some of these things. When you're talking about relationships and money, this is something that everybody kind of mess up. And the church isn't preaching it or teaching it, so we need to do it here. So are you guys about ready to get started?
Yes.
Okay, before I get started, let me tell you a little bit about who I am. My name is Rufus Carpenter, and I come into this relationship space a little different than most. My relationship base started when I was a little kid of a family of 14 kids, and we were raised in a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house for 14 siblings. With my mother and father, it was 18 in the house. So we struggled a little bit. We never had enough. And if you ever had the pleasure of sharing a bed with 4 of your siblings and then one occasionally bedwetter, oh my God, you know what it is for the human connection. So that taught me a lot about what it means to be communicative, okay? Next, fast forward, I was married 27 years to the same woman. And being married for 27 years, the ups and downs, you learn how to compromise, you learn trust, you learn communication, and you learn what it is and what it takes to go through a marriage. Now, I'm not saying this for so much for a successful marriage. What I'm trying to tell you is I understand what it is to get a deeper connection. All right, my story didn't stop there. In the Army, U.S. Army, I was trained as an equal opportunity race relation leader, where I had a responsibility of addressing any relationship or race problems in our unit. And I would go in and do an initial intake and decide what's the next course of action. So I feel really versed about being here and being a part of this conversation, and I'm surely gonna bring the male perspective. So let's get started. Tonight's topic, unequally yoked in a marriage or relationship. Now, when I say that, I gotta let you know we're gonna delve into a lot of specific things, and we got a lot of stuff we gotta consider when we talk about that. Because when you address that, especially in a marriage, when you address that, you're talking about some crucial things. People talking about love, the power of connection, and the components that might not always be there. And anybody talk about unequally yoked, first we got to go to the Bible. Unequally yoked, and I'll kind of say it just like it is. And what it says is the Bible principle that comes from 2 Corinthians 6, chapter 14, verse, which reads, Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? Which fellowship has light with darkness? So that's the general principle, because a lot of what we learn in life as human beings come from what's called first mention, the rule of first mention. So it's first mentioned in the Bible. So that kind of set the stage of what it is, first mention. Now, a lot of us learned it from our mother and fathers, because we weren't old enough to read the Bible. We didn't quite understand the Bible. So we learned it from our mothers and fathers, or a teacher or a mentor somewhere along the road. We learned that. So when I say unequally yoked, you might not see it from a Christian point of view. You might see it from a secular or world point of view. We're going to do it both, but since we know what the Bible says, and the Bible is clear, we don't have to explain that. That's clear. That's going to be the same today, tomorrow, the next day, and years on. When we did go, it's going to be the same. So we're not going to debate that. We kind of figure, okay, fair enough, y'all. Oh, hey, hi. First, let me say hi to everybody. Hey, we've got Tasha, we've got iPhone, we've got Angela, we've got Sharon, we've got Annette, and we've got Carolyn. Hey, Carolyn. So we've got everybody here. So let's get started. Now, when we talk about unequally yoked in the world of today, we first talk about love. The first thing we want to talk about is love. We want to talk about love with your partners. We want to talk about values. Again, religious. We want to talk about religious, your faith, and your belief. But these are the things that we deal with. And we got to be deeply committed to these things, because if you and your partner isn't deeply committed on what your values are, what your goals are, what your perspectives are, where are you going together as a group or a couple? If these things aren't in place, you don't agree, you've got what we call a mess. You got friction. Friction in a relationship don't work. Now, when you have two people coming together, you first thing, there's stages of forming a relationship. There's stages, and the first stage is called the introduction, or the first stage is romance, when you're really romantic in somebody or somebody courting, and that's a runway. That's when you get to learn who that person is. You get to show, most times you show your best behavior. You're going into that relationship and everything is fine. You really don't see the bad, because you got rose-colored glasses, or you want to believe that this person that you just meeting is the right person for you. So you're looking for the good versus the bad. And a lot of times the red flags are there, but you're so in love, and you're so affectionate, and the drive or the thrill, or however you want to call it, is so strong that you don't see all of the flags. And sometimes you don't even pay attention to your own boundaries. You might say, I'll never do this in a relationship. And then the pull is so strong, and you don't fit in a relationship. So that's what this is. That first stage is very, very strong. And that's where a lot of our problems come in, that very first stage, if you don't take notice. Now, the second stage, the seventh stage, we're not going through all that tonight, because that's not the class tonight. But the second stage is the norming stage. When you start realizing something, you start seeing things. You start seeing a little bit, whoa, wait a minute now. I didn't think he was kind of hard. I didn't think he was kind of like a hard dude to deal with. I thought we was on the same sheet of music. But he's saying some stuff that I don't quite agree with now. Or he's saying, I didn't think this girl could talk until we got to start getting together. Now I can't get her to shut up. Whatever it is. I'm just making examples. But that starts that. And when you get in that norming stage, which is good, you got to get that norming stage. Because if you don't have that norming stage, you will never have a relationship in the future. And that norming stage is where you get to compromise, you get to give a little bit, you get to take a little bit, you blend together, and then you kind of evaluate is this relationship for me? Is this person the right person for me or not? And if it's not the right person, great. You go ahead and part as friends, and she go her way, you go your way, or he go his way and you go your way, however that is. But if you can work it and it's workable and you see the value on both sides of the coin, then you go ahead and start making that next stage where it comes love, where you get commitment, where you say, okay, I'm committed. We're committed to each other. We're going to do this thing. And right in here is where the unequally yoked, where I was going somewhere, where I was going with that unequally yoked. And that's when you find out then, are you equally yoked or unequally yoked? That's the stage when it really comes out, that commitment stage. Because after the commitment stage is bliss stage, but we haven't gotten there yet. So if you do this, if the relationship stuff is done right in the real course of how it's supposed to work, by the time you get that third and fourth stage, you're supposed to have this thing figured out. You're supposed to know if this is the person for you and you're going forward. If this is not the person for you, you're breaking up. That's where that happens there. It happens before you get to that fourth stage, which is the bliss stage. It happens there. Now, if you get past the bliss stage and you guys are together and you found out, oh, this is not the person for me. What did I do? If you get there, that's unequally yoked. Now, let's talk about that. Anybody want to share the comments before I go any further? Anything you want to share, Glenda?
Well, no, you kind of like outlined everything quite well. I'm just waiting for us to dive in a little bit deeper.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So we've got that. So common ground is when both partners agree. Even when they're in that fourth stage, they agree. There's no friction now. You guys are working as a team. You come together. You guys have shared goals, shared values. You do the same things together. You made the determination how you're gonna handle your money and your finance, how you're gonna manage your time, and if you have children, how you're gonna raise your children. If you go to church together, what church you're gonna go to, or you can go to church together, you can go separate. How do you do all that stuff is worked out by this time. All that stuff is worked out, common ground. Now, when you do that, you got to believe. What do you believe? What are your beliefs? What are your values and what are your goals? How do you ask that? When do you ask that?
In the beginning.
In the beginning. So you in the runway, you ask all those things.
Yes.
And the person think that, Glenda, the person look at you, they say, Glenda, you're a pretty, I don't care what you tell me, I'm gonna tell you what you want to know. Whether I feel that or not.
But at the same time, too, your actions better line up with it. And I'm looking for consistency.
Yeah, but you got to realize if I'm in it, and I'm gonna back up a little bit. And guys, and don't get me wrong, I'm trying to make sure I bring it all out. So some things when I say, don't look at me like that guy's crazy. I've got to let you know, because some people date for the long-term relationship.
Right.
Some people date for a good time quickly. I gotta say that. Okay. So a lot of times, men and women both, sometimes a woman will say what you want to hear, and a man sometimes will say what you want to hear.
That because they have a hidden agenda. Keep going.
Correct. So therefore, you have to make sure that you first say you got to make sure that what are your boundaries? What are you going to take, and what you will take and what you will not take?
Right. Your negotiables and your non-negotiables. Okay. Right.
But a lot of times you got to realize the boundaries you set are not for the other person. The boundaries sometimes are for you. True. Because if you date every time you get in a marriage or a relationship, and the same result, you guys date for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or whatever, and it always break up the same way. Always you come to the same, almost like you dating or marrying the same man with a different name.
Right, correct.
If that's the case, it may not be the man. It may be your boundaries.
You saying it's
yeah, I'm just saying the shoe fits, wear it. If you're dating the same man or man dating the same woman and you come up with the same conclusion every time, and the consistency in all four of those relationships, the three of those relationships is you, a lot of times it's your own.
And that means that you need to change up on things.
That's it, Carolyn. Say, go a little deeper, Carolyn. Go a little deeper. What are you saying?
Okay. I'm saying that if you can't keep doing the same thing and expect a new resource. You got to change. You got to change the way you're doing things, okay? And my thing is, if you agree to all of this stuff in the beginning, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I say within 6 months or a year, you need to recheck and see if this agreement is still in place. That's what I think. If you keep getting the same results, then you didn't learn anything from your previous relationships. Okay? That's what I feel.
That's wisdom. She said some powerful things. One is she's saying you got to check to make sure. And the second thing is she's saying that you didn't learn anything. Because you never changed the other person, no matter how you know. And a lot of times women are worse than this than men. Because a lot of times women think they can.
Sometimes they are.
Yeah, women think they can fix the man. So they can say, if I just get him and love him right, man, he's going to fall and he's going to be okay. And a lot of times.
See, you can't do that because that man has already been raised. You cannot raise a grown person.
Yes, and I've learned the hard way. Yes, after my husband, I learned that. I said, oh, okay.
Right. The woman might need to take time out and get to know her own self because maybe she's the problem.
Right.
You know, there's some things within her.
New resource, you're the problem.
Right. It may be something that's within you that I don't know, that's deep, that you have not necessarily been honestly dealt with. Or maybe you don't see it.
Yep, and maturity level has a lot to do with it. Because even myself, I knew when I was younger and had relationships, I messed myself up and people up. I knew that because I wasn't mature enough to know. And then I started realizing, whoa, man, when I look at all the dead cockroaches in it, what the world that I done? So a lot of time it's maturity. Mm-hmm. A lot of time it's maturity. And some women will wait around till you grow up, and some won't. And it's when you're talking about the core challenges of being equally or unequally yoked, it's decision making. Decision making is one of the keys. You're going to make the decision to ignore those red flags and move on. Because sometimes you say a piece of something is better than nothing. I'm not saying you say that, but a lot of people say that. And I think women call that settling. And men call that, I don't want to be alone.
Well, either way, it's the same thing.
Yes, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. Yeah. A different name, a different restaurant, same menu.
Yes. So
different label, same flavor.
Decision making on your part is crucial.
Right.
Crucial.
Right.
And communication for both of y'all is crucial.
Right.
When you're talking about unequally yoked or equally yoked, the core challenges is who's making decisions. And sometimes there's one might be overpowering the other, and the other one, okay, all right, okay. Everything you say, and then you 5, 10, 20 years up the road, and you looking at the mess you in and saying, how did I get here?
Yeah.
What was I thinking?
Yes, or what I wasn't thinking. So when you do that, it's very important. And then another big issue when your kids come involved, when you start parenting. Some parents want to give their children everything they didn't have.
Right.
Some parents want to be strict on the kids because they feel these are my kids. They're going to do what I say. I'm working every day. They're going to do what I say.
Right.
And some people don't. Some people don't understand that you gotta make a decision on how you're gonna do. You got somebody coming in, Glenda? You got it?
I do.
Yeah, you do.
Okay, I got it.
Then also, some people realize you don't have this decision about children when you have the children. You have the decision about children before you have the children.
Right.
So when the children do come, you've already agreed. Because children are really smart. Children, like you studying what you're doing, children studying mom and pop because they know how to manipulate mom and pop.
Right.
So if you and your significant other, husband, wife, spouse, a partner have already made this decision on how you're gonna raise the kids, you guys are solid. Parenting is a major issue with Equally Yoked. Because whenever they separate who gets the kids, no, they're my kids, they're your kids. That's an issue.
It's always an issue.
Another big issue, and this is a cornerstone. I didn't realize how important this was until recently. Financial management. You're talking about something that can destroy a relationship? Don't get the finances right. And a lot of people has gone as far as say a marriage is a financial agreement. A lot of people say when you marry, you combine in finances or you combine in debts.
All the above.
Yes. So finances have a major part in being equally yoked. And I'm not saying you got to go out and find a rich man or a rich lady or the person has to be rich, because sometimes when you both start from scratch, it's great because you guys grow together and it makes you stronger. It makes a relationship stronger. It makes the connection deeper and stronger because you guys built it together. This is what we built. This is ours. Your hand and my hand together, we did this. So that's a biggie.
Right. Money management.
Yep. And here's a key. The next one, anytime you guys got questions, please jump in. Once again, this format is 20 women sitting in the living room talking, and we're relaxed, having a good time. You said, you're speaking your truth. I'm speaking my truth. She or he's speaking their truth. And this is a safe place. Nobody gonna say, are you crazy? Man, did you hear what she said? Oh Lord, last week Glenda was off the damn chain. This is not that. This is not that place.
It's a non-judgmental zone.
This is where you bring it out and you talk about it. Whatever questions you got, because you don't know who you're gonna help.
Right.
I've learned since we started having this thing, I realize I got problems. I'm trying to get to be a better lover, a better person, a better friend. I've toned down a lot because a lot of things I took for granted.
Mm.
I thought it went when we say we girlfriend and boyfriend, we kicking it. Hey, all fair love and war.
Okay.
Since I've been on this and learned, I realize I have a responsibility. I'm responsible for that other half of the relationship. It ain't about me now. It ain't all about me. It's about us. So that takes me to my next topic, lifestyle choices. Go ahead, Carla.
No, I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
Your light lit up because I thought you were going to say something. Lifestyle choices. Now, lifestyle choices, once again, it goes back to what you believe. Mm-hmm. It goes back to your belief. And then lifestyle choices, what choices you had? What was your lifestyle when y'all got together? Did y'all agree that this is going to be where you guys going to live? Are you guys going to live like you're going to live, you work 6 months out of you, take a vacation, then work 6 more months, take a vacation, or you're going to save up money and then you're going to how are you going to do that? Are you going to, go ahead, Anna, you want to say something?
Oh my God, you heard me.
Yeah, I'm on this. This is my job. I'm on this. Trust me.
Oh my God, I was thinking you're talking to myself.
Yeah, I'm on it. Go ahead.
Well, I'm gonna say something because actually, to me, I'm listening to you and I'm listening to the other people speaking, and I agree with you guys. But I'm gonna tell you something. I have to take it from a different perspective. My perspective is, as a younger person, it takes wisdom in your relationship, and for me and the people around me that I was dealing with, we didn't have this relationship wisdom. Mm-hmm. We had, it's a me thing, it's a you thing. We did what we wanted to do in the relationship. Mm-hmm. And it was all about, oh, do you love me? Do I love you? That it won't about how many children we're going to have or our financing or something like that. We just took it for granted. And that's probably part of some of the reasons why the relationships or my relationship or whatever dwindled, because it did. We didn't have the wisdom to understand this structural relationship type thing. Right. So being this equally yoked or yoked thing, I can pursue that now as a senior, older woman. Sure, we can talk that relationship yoking, equally yoked or unequally yoked type thing now. But before, I didn't have any of that.
Right.
So there's a difference. So it was just a matter of maturity that gets us to where we are when you're talking what you're talking tonight. And I didn't have it. That's it.
I felt the same way. You articulated that very well, because the whole time I thought, okay, I can't jump in here because it seemed like it's a conversation for younger people.
Yeah. Yes.
Versus older.
Yes.
But you experienced it before, haven't you?
Yeah, but what are we moving forward? Because even prior to getting on, I just happened to listen to something. What are the things that an older man wants in a relationship and in a marriage?
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in on that one.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I mean,
most older men that I have been conversating with,
yeah,
it seems like they're looking for somebody to take care of them.
Yeah.
And that's not me. That's not me. I'm not taking care of you. I'm sorry.
You're absolutely right. But that's why we need to have a conversation. And two of the couples did long distance dating, and they did it for one did it for about 5 years. They became good friends, and they thought, oh, this ain't gonna go nowhere. The woman said, so I'm in Houston right now. I'm getting ready to head back to New York. He said, oh, okay. Well, then what? Well, since you're leaving Houston, why don't I just go ahead and fly out and see you before you go? Because we never ever got together in person. We just conversated back and forth and became friends. And it's been 5 years. And so when he went and he met her, he said he knew she was the one. Over 5 years, they were just friends. And he was just like, his mind was blown.
Right.
And I'm saying, yes, I was there. I can relate. And that's where I was years ago. You get into a relationship, I just expect a man to know, if you don't bring the money home and pay the rent, you don't have nowhere to live.
Right.
So you bring that check home. And don't tell me you stopped to buy a suit before you came. You better. So to me, money was an issue. I don't roll like that.
Right.
I mean, I went through it and I dealt with it, and I thought, you know what? I can see myself getting nowhere, and I cannot spend 20 years living like this, because I already know I've given you enough time to change and nothing has happened.
Right.
I mean, of course, other things happen as well, but finances is. Because you don't come home, you done stop and bought a suit. Really? And the mortgage ain't paid? You're kidding me?
Yep. See, you guys brought out a whole lot of subjects there. And I'm gonna take them. I should have wrote them down. I was so busy listening to you guys saying, getting excited about what you're saying, I didn't write them down. So I'm gonna do better than that next time, so I can write them down. But you guys covered a lot.
It's a recording. You can just play it back and take notes.
Okay, you guys covered a lot. And one of the things you guys said, the conversation is for younger people, because you said you guys didn't have this. You got to realize something. It is for younger people as well as old people, but we're gonna deal with younger people first. It's for younger people. Now, you guys said you guys didn't have this when you were coming up.
Right.
So what you're telling me is you didn't have it because your parents, the older people, didn't take time to learn it, to teach it to you.
Correct.
Because I'm sure everybody on this line, because you guys look like y'all in our target group that we get on this call is somewhere in the 30s to 50s, 60s on this call. So somebody in this, so I'm sure somebody in here have kids, grandkids, maybe great-grands, I don't know. But somebody has responsibility of taking that message to them. Because there were a time when young girls should be mentored by the older ladies.
Right.
And the young men were mentored by the older men. So they didn't have forums like this to do that, places they can come and ask those questions. Even some of us, a lot of things that we're going to discuss on this call, on this Zoom on Sunday nights, we don't even really know. I know them because I do the study so I can be ready for you guys. So I study. I don't come here and just put out stuff. I read 3 or 4 studies so I know what I'm talking about. But a lot of things I'm learning now. And that's one. So this is for the young and the old, but the old have to mentor the young. If you got a grandchild or even a daughter or a son, even if they're in their 30s, I talk to my son. Me and my son talk about, I said, son, hey, son, I love you. You're doing a great job, you and your family, you and your wife, man. I appreciate what you guys are doing. Let's talk. I said, because don't be the man that I was, because I didn't learn until I got old. You don't have to get old to learn. You can learn from my failures, bro, son. And those conversations make a major difference. Because when your kids know that you love them, you're concerned, and you want to part that wisdom with that mentor them, a lot of them, they don't want to let you down. So they're gonna do the best for themselves and for you and their families. What now?
I say sometimes they will, but sometimes they want to do their own thing.
Right.
They're not listening. Wisdom is the best teacher. Mm-hmm.
Remember when you was coming up, they had the praying grandmother? Remember that song? They used to do them religious songs, the praying grandmother?
Yes.
Guess who the praying grandmother is now, Angie?
I understand. It's me.
Okay. Okay.
But when I throw it out there, I'm telling you something, trying to help you, and you keep doing the same thing.
Correct. You're right.
I feel like I'm casting my pearl before the swine.
Yeah, you're right.
And time is winding up. I don't have a lot of breath to keep wasting.
Yeah, but you got that prodigal son. That prodigal son calls for
girls.
The prodigal son and girls.
I'll keep saying it, and that's they telling me you just always, you can never know. But then
that's what you got to do.
When she do get it, she tells her niece, her first cousin, oh my gosh, 97% of everything she said has come true. I thought,
somebody said wisdom on this. Somebody said wisdom a few minutes ago. Get wisdom.
So that's what this is. Wisdom is the best teacher. However, some of you want their own experience, so you will have it. Right. I've got to move back and build a wall and let you do your thing.
Right. Right.
And to me, that's sad, because if I got what I'm giving now, man, I will be up the road.
Correct. Correct.
I would be so much further. Right. But I did watch and observe some things, and I said, oh, heck to the no. I'm not tolerating that, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have it like this. So, and, I was kind of watching and observing.
One of my commitments to Glenda for doing this with her and being working for her with this Sunday night at 9 is that this generation of Black kids right now are lost, and they're being seen as a permanent underclass because we tried to give them so much and we didn't give them the basics that our family gave us. A lot of stuff is missing, and it's up to us to do that, to bring these messages to them. And it's kind of strange that we're using the technology that they're part of, because what we're doing now is their technology, not ours.
Right.
I learned how to do a Zoom at 9 o'clock at night. And I don't know if some of you had a problem. I had to figure out how to get on this doggone thing, but
I'm still learning.
But somebody would say something. For
real. No, I'm still learning how to do it. So
yeah. Right. See, so So God has allowed us to come and use their technology. Now we can learn for ourselves and you know what? You know what the fastest age now that's falling in love and having problems and having relationship issues? You know what age that is now?
No, tell me.
55.
What?
55. Google it. 55 is the age.
Are you for real?
That don't
Google
even
it.
sound right.
Google it.
I thought you was gonna say a teenager.
55.
I was thinking maybe in the 20s or 30s.
So when you said this is for the young people, now
Can I say something?
I tell you what, stop. We can solve it right on this phone call right now. We can solve it on the Zoom right now. We can solve it on the Zoom right now. If you're married or not married, are you dating? And then if you're married, are you dating your husband? Are you and your husband going out dating? And if you're not married, are you dating? Are you in a relationship? Is your relationship 100% okay? Do you have
I'm
issues
not
in
in
your
a
relationship?
I'm not in one. I'm not in a relationship.
Okay. Now, and I'm not, and once again, this is a little judgment zone. And let me address that. The Surgeon General said the biggest epidemic in America right now is widespread loneliness. And the Surgeon General said that widespread loneliness is causing health problems and mental problems. And the relationship coaches and researchers said that when women aren't in a intimate relationship, they get depressed. They don't get out of bed some mornings. They stop doing the usual
That's
thing.
not all. That's
not
What's
all.
our percentage rate? Because you know what? I'm not in a relationship, but I'm not lonely, nor am I depressed.
But I'm just saying what the study said, not me, but it said men when they're not in, they get angry. They're grumpy old men.
They grumpy even if they are in a relationship.
That's what the study said. I'm just telling you what the study said. Hey, don't play. I'm the messenger. Don't kill the messenger. But that's what the study said. But okay, that's what the study says. So that's there. So you guys brought out some great things. So what we're doing right now, you got to do the same thing when you meet a new person. If you get a new Carl, if you find someone that, man, the heaven and the earth sets on their forehead, man, that's the best thing since cotton candy. You got to go through the same things. You got to go through those 7 stages of a relationship. You're
probably right, but the first stage of the relationship for me to him is going to be, I'm not taking care of you.
I know that.
When guys get older, they looking for somebody to cook for them, do this, do that. I ain't doing that. I love myself.
I cook for you, but not every night.
And that's what that boundary. That's what you know. You already set your boundaries. You've already set your boundaries, and that's a boundary. Go ahead, Tasha. Tasha haven't spoken yet.
And that's why, I think I've never been married.
Okay.
I have been in relationships, but I really feel like the biggest thing is you got to be able to communicate. You got to be able to communicate effectively from the door, because to me, when you reach a certain age, I can tell by how you walk, it's not going to work. I have already communicated that with you, because even what you're saying, what the Surgeon General says, I really feel like if there are some women who are lonely and depressed and can't get out of bed because they're not in a relationship, then all of that opens up another big door.
Correct.
Why are you depressed? Are you depressed because if you look at the statistics with our ethnicity of Black men, they're either 6 feet under, they're locked up on vacation, or they're gay. Or if they're not gay, they're bisexual. So it's almost like and I'm 51. So it's almost like we don't have nothing to choose from. Me, I don't want to date any other ethnicity. I love me some me. I'm not saying that there isn't someone out there, but I think for anything to work effectively, you have to be able to communicate. You have to communicate your morals and values. What do we have that we like together?
But I got a question. Tasha. When you say that, my thing is, I think in the beginning of what Rufus was saying earlier, he had said something in regards to, I responded back I had said something about, about a hidden agenda. When you're meeting somebody for the first time, yes, you have to communicate, you have to be honest. And, at our age, late 30s on up, a lot of times when you're communicating, when you first meet somebody, everybody is not being honest. There's a hidden agenda. So in your opinion, based off of what you're saying about the communication, how do you handle that if you run into someone that's, they like, oh, they'll say everything you want to hear to get you to have your undivided attention, but then before you know it, you're like, wait a minute, hold up, what just happened here? This is not a person I met 6 months ago. Stuff starts, you start seeing red flags. So in my opinion, how would you handle that?
But I'd rather start seeing red flags now than to wait 6 or 7 years and be like, oh damn, I saw it. But see, a lot of times in relationships and marriages, you see the red flag and you push it up under the rug, like, nope, I didn't just see that. But my thing is, if a person's showing you who they are right then and there, then you believe them. And no, people are not going to be honest. That goes both ways.
Correct.
Each party is going to have a wall up, because I need to see where your mind is. I need to see where your mindset is at. Are we on that same plane, on that same level? Are we on that same frequency? Is my frequency higher than your frequency?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, how can we bring your frequency up to the standards that both of us are on that frequency level? Because energy plays a big part in relationships. Like I said, I've never been married.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this. If I meet someone and that dude say, come on, we've only been dating 2 months, let's get married. I guarantee you I'll stay married to that man 50 years compared to me dating a man for 10 years, getting married and only staying married for 5 years or 2 years and then get a divorce. I'm sorry. The only thing that changed was a piece of paper.
Yep.
We've been together for 10, 15, 20 years, and then we decided to tie the knot and can't stay married 10 years because I didn't know she did that. I didn't know he did that. Excuse me, if he shit, I should know the color. Because we've been together 20 years. I should know everything about him, and he should know everything about me, because we've been together for 20 years before we got married, and we've lived together. Now, if I met somebody, we got married for 3 months, guess what? You know what, babe? I don't like that you leave the toilet seat up. Or, babe, you know what? I'm allergic to this. Don't cook that. But, baby, you said this. Let's talk about it. I shouldn't wait 20 years, but like, you know what? You said this 2 years ago. No. Because one thing I don't like in relationship, don't bring some up that you could have brought up the day that it happened.
Amen.
Because that's a big issue that make us being able to move forward. If this happened yesterday, we're going to talk about it yesterday. It's not going to be, oh, I'm going out with my boys because I'm mad. No, you're going to sit your ass down right here and we're going to talk. You ain't going nowhere with your girls. We're going to sit and we're going to talk, because I don't want you 4 weeks later. Well, you know what? I remember last week when you said this and said, so why you didn't bring it up then? Because to me, it's the past. I don't even want to hear it because you didn't bring it up then. A lot of stuff like that keep you from being on that frequency level together and moving forward. Because I've known people that have been dating for 3 months and been married 50 years. Because they have learned each other. They truly learned each other in that time frame of being together 3 months and lasting 50 years. Instead of you being together, being in a relationship for 20 years, you can't stay married 5 or 2. Come on now, not change but the paper. What makes it so hard that we can't stay married? Because people are so quick to get a divorce.
Yes.
People are so quick to separate. I just look at my elders back then. They put up with a lot of shit.
Yep.
A lot of stuff. Right. And they stuck with the men.
Yeah.
They came home, they had outside children, but they still took care of home. They took care of them kids and they ain't go nowhere. They probably drunk Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whooped your ass, but guess what? You still stayed.
We got the same story. All of us got the same story.
You had a village. So you're wondering why younger people are like they are and the youth are like, because you have no more villages. Right. You can, so that's why I said this topic, it goes deep. It's deeper than what we're talking about now, because it's so many facets to this.
Right.
You know, it's so many doors that can open up with just that topic, because a lot of things that, you know, Black people, not people, what goes on in this house, stay in this house. No, it's called trauma. It's called trauma. Now you have a bunch of broken women and a broken men as they get older, grown people that are broken.
Absolutely.
Because they're bringing trauma from childhood, because what goes on in this house, stay in this house. So I can't talk to nobody. Who can I talk to? I can't talk to my mom and my dad, because if I voice my opinion, you being smart, you doing this. It's not that. I should be able to voice my opinion. It's how you voice your opinion.
Exactly.
It's how to keep our youth from growing up being broken. Because a lot of us are broken, and that's why a lot of us get in bad relationships and have bad marriages. Because you feel like, what I've seen all my life, this dude is doing the same thing this man did to my mama growing up. So I'm thinking it's okay because my mama didn't leave. So I'm thinking it's okay for him to put his hands on me, because my mama did not show me that, hey, if a man does this, you need to leave. You don't take that type. And it goes both ways. If she put her hands on you, you leave.
Right.
You leave.
Right.
But you want to have some sort of, like I said, frequency to be equally yoked. But will you be equally yoked if you're not on that same frequency level?
No.
Energy plays a big part in relationships. It plays a big part, because once you open up your body sexually to a man, you both are releasing your energy to each other.
Right.
Now, what are you going to do with that energy? How are you going to be able to manifest something positive out of what just happened between us? Have you discussed if we have sex? Okay, so what's our next move? Do we plan on dating? Do we plan on dating exclusively? Or do we plan on, hey, I'm going to call you? I mean, think conversations like that need to be had at the door. You got to let you know, hey, this is no strings attached. So this is what we're going to do.
Right.
Or, hey, you know, we do this, then that's it, because I don't believe in this bam, 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 bam. So a lot of things is conversation. You got to talk about what you're looking for, because I feel like when you get a certain age, baby, cut it. You don't need to be playing all these games like you 2, like you 10. Because at the door, a man already knows what he wants. You don't want to be a placeholder. Because if you're dating somebody for so many amount of years and he has not asked you to marry him or meet his family or something, you are just a placeholder, baby, until he finds somebody that he wants. Because apparently it's not you. He hasn't made that commitment to you. He hasn't done anything like that to you. So really, you're a placeholder. You've been with this man for 10 years and y'all ain't got married. Well, we don't want to get married. Why not? Y'all been together 10 years. Let's do it the right way. Why not? You don't want to be a placeholder. So this opens up a lot of facets to different things that make up the topic that you're talking about, because a lot of stuff has to be touched psychologically, mentally, because mental health is serious and mental health is big in our ethnicity. But what we do is everything what goes on in the house, stay in the house, and you push it up on the rug. So a lot of facets plays a part in what type of relationship and marriage that you two are going to bring from the one house and that's up on the one unity. That's just how I think. I ain't never been married, but if it's meant, okay, Lord. If not, it is what it is.
Tasha, you bring the smoke, girl. You bring
Very
the
well
smoke.
said. Very well said.
You bring the smoke. And we're past our 30-minute mark, so we're at 48 minutes. So we're going to wind down, because this is meant to be a 30 to 45-minute thing. We can go to 10, but we'll never go past 10. So we've got about a few more. We got about 8 more minutes we can talk about. So Glenda, you want to say anything before we?
Well, I did want to mention that I did put the handout for tonight in our chat. So if you want to download it and save it, you are more than happy to do so, as well as I would love for you guys to join our Facebook community. And the name is Glenda Driver, like a bus driver. So please, join our Facebook community so you can see upcoming events and, see maybe, possibly our next topic that we'll be discussing the upcoming week. But outside of that, this conversation was a lively one. Tasha, pretty much brought us home tonight. I mean, I was speechless, but she hit the nail on the head. I couldn't disagree with her. She had me thinking and taking notes. So I'm like, OMG.
Yeah.
Like, I
One
was
more thing I
speechless.
want to say is that we all have flaws.
Absolutely.
No one is perfect, but it's
Correct.
all in what you're willing to deal with.
Right.
If you're
Correct.
going to deal with certain flaws, then you deal with it. But you all, again, have had that discussion about those, because nobody's perfect. If you perfect, then baby, I need to rub off on you. You just get some of that perfectness, because we strive for perfection, but we'll never be, perfect. But it's always flaws. Everybody has flaws. It's all in what you deal. I'm going to choose to deal with it, or I'm choose not to deal with it. And that's just that. And that's life.
And the best thing to do is just to be open and honest up front.
Right.
That's it.
But the only downside of that is most people aren't open and honest up front. So that's one of the biggest battles.
But what I can say with that's when you do dating one-on-one. You take your time and you be very observant and stop ignoring the red flags, which pushes your boundaries. But that's more for the older seasoned ones. You know what I'm the younger people will not do it that way, but experience and wisdom is the best teacher, but some insist on, I've got to have my own experience. So you just had to let them have at it. You can always put it out there and try to share the information. But if you want to save time.
All relationships require work. Even the best relationships require work. When Tasha was saying what she was saying, what comes to mind and what we say in relationship coaching, all relationships require work. Even the best relationship require work, because if you don't put the work in, it's going to erode over time. Because when she said being together 10 years and then get married and then 3 years break up, what has happened? They didn't do the work, so they kind of wore the relationship out, because they didn't do the work. So when they got married, all of a sudden everybody saw their responsibility. And then when they saw their responsibility, they couldn't add up, didn't want to add up, didn't feel it shouldn't add up. And that tore the relationship down. So you always have to work on relationships. Tonight, let's go ahead and round this in. Glenda, you want to take us home, or you want me to take us home?
You can go ahead and take us home.
Round up. We talked about being unequally yoked in a relationship. And we brought out some things, but the core things is about 10 things that you need to consider. And there first is, you got to reflect on your core values. What are your core values? What's important to you? What you're going to take and won't take? Open communication, like Tasha said. You got to communicate openly and honestly. Truthful communication. Then you got to identify areas of disparity. Where you guys disagree at? What can we do? Can we compromise? Can we work on it? What can we do? Do we have to go out and get professional help? Maybe we might need to see a professional counselor. And then you got to seek understanding. When a person says, when your spouse or significant other says something you don't quite understand, you got to seek understanding. Hey, what are you talking about? And then you got to explore compromise. They can't always be about you. It's got to be about the group. It got to be about the partnership that you guys are. Set boundaries. That's the biggie. Set boundaries for yourself as well as for your partner. Seek support. It may be somebody in the community. It may be the preacher. It may be a best friend, or whatever, or maybe going to a professional counselor. And then you got to evaluate long-term compatibility. Long-term compatibility. Are you guys getting together for a hookup? You want to kick it for a couple times and everything's cool? That's it. Or is this for a long time romantic relationship over time? That has to be determined. Then once again, you got to consider relationship counseling, whether it's a therapist or whether it's a counselor like me or Glenda, or whether it's going to a licensed professional that actually does it. You got to do that. And then you got to make your decisions with clarity. You can't get drunk. You can't say fuck it and go get drunk. You got to make your decisions with clarity. You got to think about it. You got to pray about it. Think about it. Because we started by saying that unequally yoked was a Bible principle. So you have to pray on it. Yes, Carlin, go ahead.
I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you said something. Okay, you guys, we said the law of first learning, a law of first mention. The unequally yoked was mentioned first in the Bible. So the Bible kind of set the tempo on it. And once again, let me find my notes where I got that at. Because that was 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14, which reads this way: do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with a lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness? And on that note, I appreciate you. We'll be here next week the same time. You guys have been a lively, great panel. I appreciate all of you. What you call it? Get joined right now. Andre just joined. You check them in. Andre just joined. So you guys been a lively group. I appreciate you. Come back next week. And also, we're growing, guys. Here's our goal. Our goal is to do this every Sunday night. And on Wednesday, we want to have it posted on YouTube every Wednesday. Now, we haven't got the YouTube thing yet because we need a few more. We need a few more of these sessions. So when we put something on YouTube, it just won't be 1 or 2 things flashing. You will have some content that you can go through. So all of what we're doing will end up on YouTube, and it'll probably be 2 more weeks before we do that. Because right now, what we're trying to do is make sure that we're consistent. We're making sure that it's lively, because we want this to be an interactive. We don't want this to be a teachy thing where one person get up and you get a conference or a lecture. This is where that exchange is very, very important. It's like you and 20 of your girlfriends sitting in the living room and having fun. If you want to get your glass of wine or a glass of Kool-Aid, hey, it's on you. All right. Anybody want to say anything? We got 2 minutes. If anybody want to say anything before we head out? All right, it's been fun. See you guys next week, same place, same time. Good night.
Rufus, I'm gonna call you at some point this week. I need to talk to you.
Looking forward to that, because I miss talking to you, my cuz.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.